Does your social class status influence your sense of humor? Some researchers think so. I'm Dr. Anna Kalschmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people from low-income backgrounds. Let's get into it. Researchers ran a study to see if social class influenced humor because humor is a phenomenon that brings people together and can influence work teams. It can bring people together, promoting social cohesion on teams, or it can tear people apart by offending people and ostracizing them. In this study, the researchers looked at two forms of humor, affiliative humor versus aggressive humor. Affiliative humor uses benign, well-intended humor to make lighthearted jokes with the purpose of bringing people closer, while aggressive humor is making jokes to show your superiority over other people. It's more hostile. And researchers were curious if the social class of participants would influence which ones they used. They ran a study via surveys of asking people about their types of humor and their class status, and there weren't any differences in use of affiliative humor, but there was a difference in aggressive humor. People who were higher in social class were more likely to correlate with aggressive humor. And they weren't really sure why, but they had an idea. And so they ran a second study, and this time they included a measure of empathy. And this second study verified the results, finding again that there was not a difference in affiliative humor, but higher class people had a tendency towards aggressive humor. And the relationship was mediated by empathy, meaning that there was a direct relationship between the higher the income went, the lower their empathetic concern went. And then the higher the empathetic concern, the less likely they were to use aggressive humor. So people with a lot of money had less empathetic concern and more aggressive humor. People with less money had more empathetic concern and less of a relationship with aggressive humor. This is consistent with what I talk about in Unwritten Rule of Work number 1, which is that as people move up into higher class environments, they're expected to be more individualistic, which is hard for people from working class backgrounds because they're more communal and more interdependent. They share resources. They're more other oriented, while middle class and upper middle class and higher is more I oriented. So for me, this study begs the question, do we think bullying is more prevalent in upper class environments? Is there more aggressive humor? And does that go well, or does it spark more conflict and harassment? What do you think?